Extraordinary images out of Los Angeles tonight. Hundreds of National Guard troops now on the ground, deployed by President Trump, even though state leaders say they didn't ask for them and don't want them there. You see members of the National Guard with weapons, with body shields and tear gas canisters, all as protesters gather for day 3 of demonstrations against federal immigration raids.
Tonight, we're diving into one of the most controversial moves of the Trump presidency: the sudden deployment of National Guard troops into Los Angeles, without the state's approval. Was this a necessary response to unrest, or a dangerous federal overreach?
Ali, just moments ago, Governor Newsom asked the Trump administration to officially rescind the order to federalize the National Guard on the ground. Meanwhile, this rally continues to pop off, LAPD declaring it unlawful, and they're making arrests.
Tonight, protesters and law enforcement officials squaring off after days of raids, riots, and demonstrations. And a rare move by President Trump, mobilizing 2,000 California National Guard troops against the will of the state's governor overnight.
That's right. California Governor Gavin Newsom didn't authorize this, and yet heavily armed troops were mobilized. What message does that send to protesters and local authorities alike?
Skirmishes between authorities and protesters outside of a Home Depot. Law enforcement firing tear gas and non-lethal rounds into several crowds.
I couldn't see who was shooting, but they were trying to aim right at me, which is like it's very scary.
Sheriff Robert Luna saying his deputies only acted as peacekeepers and didn't assist with any federal action.
We will protect your right to peacefully protest, but we cannot and will not tolerate violence or destruction of property.
And things escalated fast. Protesters, police, and federal agents clashed in what's becoming a symbolic showdown between state and federal power.
Newsom accused President Trump of attempting to manufacture a crisis by mobilizing the National Guard, adding he's hoping for chaos so he can justify more crackdowns, more fear, more control. Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, defended the move to NBC's Jacob Soboroff and says about 150 undocumented immigrants have been detained in the last few days.
But not just to protect the law enforcement, to protect the general public. If Democratic leaders want to turn their back on public safety, they can.
Tonight, tensions reaching a boiling point as more troops hit the ground.
Images like these raise deep concerns. Is this a show of strength or suppression? And why now?
President Trump is defending their deployment.
Well, we're going to have troops everywhere. We're not going to let this happen to our country. We're not going to let our country be torn apart.
The president calling Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass incompetent, while Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth says that active duty Marines at Camp Pendleton are on high alert and could be mobilized if the violence continues.
One of our core principles is maintaining peace through strength. We do that on foreign affairs and domestic affairs as well. I don't think that's heavy-handed.
Late today, on his way to Camp David, the president saying he personally spoke with Governor Newsom days ago by phone and threatened to send in the troops once he saw demonstrators throwing objects and spitting on officers.
They spit, we hit. And I told them, nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military.
Trump's defenders say it's about public safety. His critics call it political theater. So who's right? And what happens if things escalate even further? The Insurrection Act has rarely been used. Its history goes back to the Civil Rights Movement. And even then, only in extreme cases. Is this that moment again? As tensions rise and lines blur between protest and policing, one thing is clear. America is at a crossroads. What happens next may shape the future of federal power and civil liberties for years to come.